Hello folks, this is Mr. Dan coming to you from the Landscape Design Classroom, and today I'm going to talk to you about reducing the risk of using chemicals. Our main idea here, what can be done to ensure that agricultural chemicals are used properly without creating a risk to human health or the environment. So the purpose of product labels, and I stress this all the time in class, is read the label, read the label, read the label. One of the most important safety devices provided with chemical products, you can get all your information here. The primary source of information on safe application and required by federal law for all chemical pesticides. So what's included in the label? We have the brand or trade name, manufacturer's name, address, phone number, and EPA registration number, percentage of active and inert ingredients, signal words, and handling, storage, protective clothing required, and precautions. So our signal words here: caution, warning, and danger, poison. Starting with caution is relatively low or very low toxicity. Warning, which is moderately toxic. And danger, poison, or danger, which is highly toxic. Directions are safety of use, which crops you can use it on, which pests you can use it on, proper application rates, and the equipment needed for safe application of that chemical. So you can find that all here in the agricultural use requirements, and this comes on all pesticides labels. So directions for use and safety. These are directions for mixing, storage, and disposal. Time delay before re-entry or harvest. And you can also find any information if your label goes bad on the chemical manufacturer's website as well. They have to have that stuff up for you to take a look at. So, some required label precautions, precautionary health statements, environmental precautions, emergency and first aid procedures, do's and don'ts for safe application. Let's take a look through here. Marketing and usage regulations. There's two use categories under federal regulations for the sale and use of chemicals. There's general use products and restricted use products. So if you obtain a pesticides license through this class, you can use restricted use products. But if you don't have one, you'll have to stick to general use and you won't be able to buy those restricted use products. So general use pesticides can be used and purchased by a responsible individual for personal use. Low toxicity, lower hazard when used by an inexperienced person. And examples of this would be household pesticides for termites, ants, roaches, and other pests. Our restricted use products require special care and attention. Higher toxicity and other hazards can only be sold to a certified applicator for use under his or her direct supervision. We do training in class here to take your Pennsylvania state applicator license for pesticides. Certified applicators must pass a state administered training course and evaluation approved by the EPA, subject to loss of license and other penalties for label instruction violations. So if you have a license, you need to follow the label to a T. I can't stress that enough. Fines are pretty big if you don't follow the directions. So always read, research, and follow directions of those labels. So you want to read the label clearly, wear appropriate clothing and protective equipment, prevent spills, avoid back siphoning. And anytime you're working with a chemical, I always recommend at a minimum wearing a set of gloves and eye protection, even breathing apparatus, because a lot of these chemicals are really dangerous to your health. So you want to make sure that you're practicing safety when doing that. So more on safety checklist. You want to observe maximum application rates, mix only amount needed, don't go over it. You don't want to have any extra chemical left over. Use a rinse pad, follow safe disposal procedures. And then one of the most important things, you want to avoid chemical drift. So whenever you're spraying pesticides, you want to make sure that you're doing this outside of outside of inclement weather time. So if you have a lot of wind that day, do not spray. So drift is off-target movement of pesticide mist or droplets, possible damage to wildlife, non-target crops, surface water, and groundwater. So some factors affecting pesticide drift: size of spray droplets. Smaller drops are more risk than larger drops. For pressure settings, a higher pressure setting is going to be more risky than using lower pressure. And weather factors, wind speed and direction, temperature, humidity, and atmospheric stability. Hot and dry areas with unstable weather. There's a lot of conditions here that are going to affect how you spray. So the bottom line, agricultural chemicals provide many benefits, but they must be used carefully to avoid harming human health or the environment. The label contains basic product information and safety precautions, and following a safety checklist will reduce risk for workers and the environment. So there's a lot of stuff we're going to go over in this portion of the class because label reading is one of the most important things you can do in the landscape industry. So whether you're spraying somebody's house, spraying somebody's yard, trying to get rid of a pest, or even using a light application of something just to help your plants grow, you need to know how to read the label. I can't stress anything more in this class than safety while using pesticides. So that's the end of my presentation. We'll definitely be talking more in class here about this. But if you have any questions at all, please reach out to the Landscape Design Classroom. And I appreciate your time, folks. Have a great day.